right in front of you.
What is up, guys? Stu here. So, long time no see. Getting eerily good at that. Sorry about that. But this week I was fortunate enough to get out to a early screening of a film I've been very excited to see. That one was Wes Anderson's latest film, The Isle of Dogs, which comes out over here in the UK on Friday, the 30th of March. Might have just got the complete wrong date, but we're going to roll with it anyway. So let us talketh about the shitteth. Don't know why I went with that, but we're keeping it. So if you've not heard about it, it's a new film from Wes Anderson, who's a very, very wonderful director. A lot of people love him and admire him, me being one of those people. He's responsible for a lot of really, really great films. Fantastic Mr. Fox being his other animated film, but other than that, he's done films like The Royal Tenenbaums, Life Aquatic, Grand Budapest Hotel, all sorts of great films, all of which I love. And this one is his latest venture into stop motion animation. He did it before with Fantastic Mr. Fox, which is a stunning film for all sorts of reasons, not least of those being that stop motion animation is just always pretty no matter what you're doing with it. You can't fuck it up, really. Well, you can fuck it up if you're not remotely talented, but luckily he's got some talent. So he's done it again with another stop motion animated film. This time it's about a bunch of dogs that live on an island in Japan, because they decided that dogs suck and they put them all on an island. And we basically follow this kid as he's trying to find his dog that got sent to the island. And he's followed through an adventure with a pack of dogs. It sounds weird. It is weird. But I ask you, would it be a Wes Anderson film if it didn't have a strange premise? It wouldn't. Is a quick and easy answer to that question. I hope you'll pass. I love the kind of simple adventure style story here. I mean, there are different threads in there, but at the end of the day, it's just this kid trying to find his dog, and the way it goes through that and the different threads that come out of that storyline are really wonderfully executed in here. I think as far as storytelling is concerned, it does a good job with that very kind of simple story here, and it's told with some really fantastic animation. I kind of got to talk about that. It's going to be the main thing I have to discuss because it is a stop motion animated film from Wes Anderson. So I got some stuff to say about its style, and it is really, really good looking, this film. I love the style of animation that he uses in this. It's always good seeing stop motion because you can see the way the artists are working with the puppets. You can see every little dent and every little movement of the hairs on it. It's just a really rich film to look at from that side of things, and they've pulled it off magnificently here. I love the dog design. I love the human design. It's nice and simple on the humans, but the dogs look really, really good throughout the film. And they've all got their kind of different quirks to them, which sets them aside from each other. And I was afraid at first that it might be a little bit difficult to distinguish which dog was which, because there's a load of dogs in this film. It is in the name. It's called Isle of Dogs, but there's a lot in here. And actually, you do start to understand the differences between the dogs, and that's down to a visual thing, but it's also down to the voice acting, which is really fantastic here. As I said, it's a stacked cast filled with amazing names. I mean, you got people like fucking Bill Murray, Greta Gerwig, Harvey Keitel, Bryan Cranston, Tilda Swinton, bloody fucking Frances McDormand, who I adore and I love hearing pop up in anything, and they're all really great. The voice work is fantastic and matches each dog very well. I will say, however, though, with such a big cast like that, I mean, it's kind of inevitable that you're going to have a few that get sort of lost in the mix there and not as played up as the others. But it does happen in this one. There are a couple of voices in there that I feel could have got a little bit more limelight. Bill Murray. God, I love Bill Murray. He's amazing. And I feel like you kind of lose him a bit in this film. I mean, you can hear him when he's there, but just give Bill Murray more. That's all you need to do in a film. And I guess it's a Wes Anderson film. He's given Bill Murray enough already. But I'd like to hear a bit more Bill Murray in here. That's all I'm saying. But everyone else is great. I mean, I guess the most prominent voice work you hear in a film, at least for me, were Bryan Cranston and Frances McDormand. Maybe it's because they're the most recognisable voices, but I thought they did really good work in their own roles in the film as well. And I really enjoyed the way that the film throws in all of these different voices. It's kind of, to some extent, a bit like, oh, here's another voice of a great stellar actor that you know. Whoa, have it. But it kind of steers away from that and has little characters that pop in here and there that do feel like they really work within the story. And I think that's also down to the way that Wes Anderson puts together his stories and directs his films, is that you can have weird little side things that come off here and there, which you know, don't really add a huge amount to what's happening within the film, but are just fun to see, and you can get different voices in there, so that's really enjoyable to see there. And it leads me on to something else I really enjoyed about the film. It's got a really kind of fun, odd way of using subtitles and graphics and frames within the film, which really does work for me. I can see a lot of people going to be like up and down about how they feel about that sort of thing. It does a very clear decision right from the get-go that not everything that the Japanese characters are saying in the film is going to be subtitled 100%. There are little bits where it pops up here and there in different forms, like someone kind of interpreting them or a subtitle popping up. And I like the way it kind of splices between those things and isn't always 100% consistent with those things. And it lends to a lot of the things I thought worked really well about the humour in the film. It is a very funny film, but in that very Wes Anderson-y kind of dry, I don't know why this is funny, but it just is kind of way. It bleeds through into the subtitles, so you get some really wonderful moments where, like, it'll be a funeral and the subtitles will just say deceased. And I actually really enjoyed where the story ended up going. It's a very peculiar premise, and there are things you just got to roll with, but that's kind of why I think it works so well with this animated style. It means you can get away with a lot more, but, I mean, it's Wes Anderson anyway. Even if it was live action, it would still work, I think. But yeah, I'm very happy to see him go back to the stop-motion animated style and for it to work so well. But I do think it does slip into a couple of the problems that I think you get with a lot of Wes Anderson films. It's not present in all of them, but I do tend to find that there is a tendency for it to start to drag a tiny bit in the middle. At the slight bit before the final act of a Wes Anderson film, I think it tends to hit a little dip. I'm not sure if anyone else agrees with me on that one, but I think when you come into a Wes Anderson film, you've got a very clear style and you know how it's going to be kind of delivered, a lot of the comedy and the lines. And at first it's very fresh in seeing how he's doing his style in a new story. But after a while, when it starts to settle into things, I find that it can start to drag in some of his weaker films. Not that I dislike any of his films, but some of the ones that aren't quite as amazing as the others, I think drags a little bit in the middle. And I think this one does slightly dip into that in that around the kind of 3/4 point of the film, it started to slow down a little bit. I think you sort of, I guess the fresh and the quirkiness starts to wear off a little bit, but then it gets you back quick enough, and I really enjoyed the final act of this film. So it's not really a huge problem. It didn't really bring down the overall experience for me too much, but I do think it drags a little bit in the middle there. But luckily, everything else about the way he directs and the way he puts together his films is just magical and glorious to watch. So I was on board, and it got me back on board in the end, and I really enjoyed the end of this film as well. I think it's got some really nice messages, things that are going on thematically in the film that can apply to different things and you can take different things from it, and I really like that aspect of it as well. It's just a lovely film. I just had a great time with it. I thought it was really fun. I thought it was really wonderfully animated and executed. Obviously gorgeous to look at with all of its symmetry. Not sure how it ranks up in my overall rankings of Wes Anderson films at this point. Not my favourite. But happy to say it didn't disappoint. Yeah, really enjoyed the Isle of Dogs. And I think if you're a Wes Anderson fan, you're really going to enjoy it as well. If you really don't like Wes Anderson films, and every time you watch it you're like, God, this guy's pretentious, maybe steer clear of this one. You're probably not going to like it. Let me know what you thought about it in the comments below, if you're excited for it, if you've seen it. And while we're at the end of the video here, it's probably a better time than ever to let you know that I'm trying out some new things on the channel, so I'm not going to be doing star ratings anymore. Just because I'm strongly of the opinion that really it's about what I'm saying in the rest of the video. I don't think star ratings are really necessary anymore. So I'm trying out a new style where I'm just sort of chatting with you guys. And it doesn't just become this what I like, this what I like, this what I don't like, this what I don't like, here's a star rating. Because it can feel a little bit formulaic. So freshen up things here. No star rating. Just, yeah, take a seat and a nice cold glass of water. That's got to be a shock to the system. Anyway, I'll see you guys soon. Hope you enjoyed the video, and please do consider clicking subscribe or liking if you dug it. Really helps me out. But yeah, until next time, stay beautiful, mother truckers.